For over 3 decades, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has stood at the center of power in Iran. As supreme leader, his face is seen everywhere, symbolizing ultimate authority in state and religion. Understanding his life is key to understanding modern Iran and its complex relationship with the world. Born in Mashhad in 1939, Khamenei was raised in a cleric family, immersed in Islamic studies from childhood. He became a key figure in the 1979 Iranian Revolution and has shaped Iran ever since. His story is the story of modern Iran: revolution, power, and enduring influence. Ayatollah Khamenei is Iran's supreme leader, holding ultimate authority over politics, religion, and the military. His rule is marked by unwavering resolve, anti-Western policies, and deep controversy. Supporters see him as a guardian of Islamic values. Critics accuse him of repression. As questions about succession grow, his legacy remains fiercely debated. Sayyid Ali Hosseini Khamenei was born in 1939 in Mashhad, a sacred city and center of Shia learning. Raised in a modest clerical family, he experienced poverty and discipline from an early age. The city's religious atmosphere, the presence of the Imam Reza shrine, and his father's teachings shaped his worldview, instilling values of piety, scholarship, and simplicity that would guide his life. As a teenager, Ali Khamenei entered the Mashhad Hausa, beginning rigorous religious studies under leading scholars, including his father and Grand Ayatollah Milani. In Qom, he studied under Ayatollah Khomeini, whose revolutionary ideas transformed Khamenei from a scholar into a political activist. The seminary became a crucible for his emerging revolutionary identity. In the 1960s, Ali Khamenei's political awakening began alongside Ayatollah Khomeini, inspired by fiery sermons against the Shah. He distributed revolutionary pamphlets, faced arrest by Savak, and endured imprisonment. Khamenei's resolve only grew, shaping him into a key revolutionary thinker and strategist, merging religious duty with political action. After Khomeini's exile in 1964, Ali Khamenei returned to Mashhad, stepping up as a trusted disciple. He taught advanced Islamic classes infused with revolutionary ideas, inspiring young Iranians to resist the Shah's regime. Khamenei's message of faith and action laid the groundwork for a new generation of activists, quietly fueling the movement for change. Ali Khamenei's growing influence as a dissident cleric did not go unnoticed by the Shah's regime. The Savak, with its extensive network of informants, identified him as a significant threat to state security. His activities were closely monitored, and his sermons were often recorded and analyzed for subversive content. His open praise for Ayatollah Khomeini and his criticism of government policies made him a prime target. As a result, his life during the late 1960s and early 1970s was defined by a relentless cycle of activism, arrest, and imprisonment. Each time he was released, he would defiantly resume his work, and each time, the authorities would respond with another arrest, hoping to silence him for good. His periods in prison were harsh and isolating, designed to break the spirit of political prisoners. He endured solitary confinement, interrogations, and psychological pressure. However, for Khamenei, these experiences were not just punishments, they were tests of his faith and commitment. Instead of being deterred, he emerged from each imprisonment with his convictions strengthened and his revolutionary zeal intensified. The prisons of the Shah inadvertently became networking centers for dissidents from various backgrounds. Inside, Khamenei interacted with other political prisoners, including secular intellectuals and members of armed guerrilla groups, broadening his understanding of the different factions that opposed the monarchy. One of his most significant arrests occurred in 1974. Following an especially powerful speech, he was taken into custody and sent to a notorious Joint Committee prison in Tehran. This incarceration was his longest and most severe, lasting for several months. During this time, he was subjected to intense interrogations and was held in brutal conditions. The regime's goal was to force him to renounce his support for Khomeini and cease his political activities permanently. Yet, Khamenei refused to yield. His resilience during this period further solidified his heroic status among revolutionaries and demonstrated his unwavering loyalty to the cause he had embraced. His repeated imprisonments, totaling 6 separate occasions, turned him into a hardened veteran of the anti-Shah struggle. They also gave him a deep personal understanding of the oppressive nature of the regime he was fighting against. This first-hand experience of state brutality would profoundly shape his worldview and his policies later in life. It fostered a deep-seated suspicion of powerful, centralized authority that was not grounded in religious legitimacy. For Khamenei and many others in the movement, the fight was not just about politics. It was a righteous, spiritual battle against a corrupt and godless system. His scars, both visible and invisible, became symbols of his dedication. By the mid-1970s, the Shah's government decided that imprisonment alone was not enough to neutralize the persistent threat posed by Ali Khamenei. His influence continued to spread even when he was behind bars, as stories of his defiance circulated among the opposition. In a final attempt to sever his connections with his followers in Mashhad, the regime sentenced him to internal exile in 1977. He was forcibly relocated to Iran Shar, a remote and desolate city, in the arid province of Sistan and Baluchistan, in southeastern Iran. The area was far from the political and religious centers of the country, and the government hoped that this isolation would finally silence his revolutionary voice. However, the strategy backfired. Khamenei, resourceful and determined, refused to be isolated. He quickly began to build new connections within the local community in Iran Shar. He used his position as a respected cleric to engage with the local Sunni population, a minority in Shia-dominated Iran. This experience gave him valuable insight into the country's ethnic and sectarian diversity, and fostered a more inclusive vision for his activism. He organized relief efforts during a major flood that hit the region, earning the respect and admiration of the local people. Instead of being broken by exile, he turned it into an opportunity to expand his influence and demonstrate his leadership skills in a new context. While Khamenei was in exile, the political climate in Iran was rapidly changing. Public discontent with the Shah's rule was reaching a boiling point, fueled by economic troubles, social tensions, and the continued repression of political freedoms. In January 1978, a government-sponsored newspaper article insulting Ayatollah Khomeini sparked massive protests in Qom, which were brutally suppressed. This event ignited a nationwide cycle of demonstrations that grew larger and more defiant with each passing month. The revolutionary movement was no longer a clandestine affair. It had exploded into a full-blown popular uprising. From his remote place of exile, Khamenei followed the news with great anticipation. Sensing the regime was beginning to crumble under the immense pressure, Khamenei saw his chance. In mid-1978, as the revolutionary fervor swept the nation, he defied the terms of his exile and made his way back to his home city of Mashhad. He arrived to a hero's welcome. His return energized the protest movement in the region, and he immediately took a leading role in organizing demonstrations and coordinating revolutionary activities. The final push against the monarchy was underway, and Ali Khamenei, having endured years of imprisonment and exile, was now positioned at the forefront of the revolution that was about to change Iran forever. By late 1978, Iran was ablaze with revolution. In Mashhad, Ali Khamenei emerged as a key leader, channeling the energy of the masses and organizing protests against the Shah. His speeches galvanized crowds, while the regime's violence only fueled defiance. During Muharram, religious processions became powerful protests. When the Shah fled in January 1979, jubilant crowds celebrated, and the revolution's victory was near. With the Shah gone, Ayatollah Khomeini returned to Iran in 1979, welcomed by millions. Ali Khamenei, recognized for his loyalty, quickly rose to power, joining the Revolutionary Council, leading Friday prayers, and helping form the Revolutionary Guard, navigating fierce rivalries. Khamenei emerged as a key political force, solidifying his place in the new regime. In April 1979, a national referendum overwhelmingly approved Iran's transformation into an Islamic republic. This gave Ayatollah Khomeini and his allies, including Ali Khamenei, the mandate to reshape Iran's political and social order. Khamenei helped draft the new constitution, which established the supreme leader as the ultimate authority. The regime quickly consolidated power, eliminating rivals and silencing opposition through revolutionary courts. Khamenei, as Friday Prayer leader, defended these harsh measures as vital for the revolution's survival. The U.S. embassy seizure in November 1979, which Khamenei praised, further radicalized the regime and isolated moderates. By year's end, the Islamic Republic's foundations were secure, the monarchy gone, and Khamenei's influence rising. He emerged as a key architect and defender of the new order. His actions during this period cemented his status as one of Khomeini's most trusted lieutenants. The revolution's victory set the stage for the challenges and power struggles to come. The early 1980s were marked by violence and war. In 1981, Khamenei survived an assassination attempt that left him permanently injured, elevating his status as a revolutionary hero. Later that year, with Khomeini's endorsement, he became Iran's president amid the brutal Iran-Iraq war. Though his executive power was limited, Khamenei played a crucial role in war strategy and morale, often visiting the front lines. He advocated for total victory, clashing with pragmatists who sought peace. The war's devastation shaped both Khamenei and the nation, forging new military leaders and deepening anti-Western sentiment. As president, he managed a country under siege, balancing war demands with internal pressures. His leadership during this crucible solidified his reputation as a resilient, uncompromising figure. Khamenei's presidency was defined by sacrifice, survival, and the consolidation of revolutionary power. The war years hardened his political views and prepared him for greater authority. By 1989, he was a central figure in Iran's post-revolutionary state. As president, Khamenei's close relationship with Ayatollah Khamenei was pivotal. He was more than a subordinate, he was a trusted confidant, shaped by years of shared struggle. Khamenei regularly sought Khomeini's guidance on major issues, reinforcing his loyalty and influence. Despite factional infighting, Khomeini's support ensured Khamenei's political survival. As Tehran's Friday Prayer leader, Khamenei became the regime's public face, echoing Khomeini's ideology. This apprenticeship taught him the art of balancing power and religious authority. Khamenei's loyalty and ideological purity made him a pillar of the revolutionary establishment. Though not seen as a successor then, he was already a guardian of Khomeini's legacy. The death of Khomeini in 1989 left Iran facing a leadership crisis. The original successor, Montazeri, had been dismissed for criticizing the regime's human rights abuses. The Assembly of Experts needed a new supreme leader, but Khamenei lacked the highest religious rank. In a tense session, Rafsanjani argued that loyalty and political skill mattered more than clerical status. The constitution was amended, and Khamenei was unexpectedly chosen as supreme leader. Initially reluctant, he accepted the role for the sake of stability. His selection was pragmatic, a trusted insider to ensure continuity. At 50, Khamenei ascended to the pinnacle of power, surprising many inside and outside Iran. The quiet scholar from Mashhad was now the Islamic Republic's ultimate authority. As supreme leader, Khamenei faced skepticism and the challenge of stepping out of Khomeini's shadow. He methodically built support within the IRGC and religious foundations, consolidating his authority. Overseeing post-war reconstruction, he balanced economic reforms with the preservation of revolutionary values. Khamenei gradually bolstered his religious credentials to strengthen his legitimacy. The rise of reformists in the late 1990s tested his leadership. He allowed some change but blocked threats to the system. He mastered the art of balancing factions, ensuring ultimate power remained with him and loyal institutions. Unlike Khomeini's fiery style, Khamenei ruled quietly and strategically from behind the scenes. He transformed the supreme leader's office into a powerful, institutionalized position. By the end of the decade, Khamenei had firmly established himself as the unchallenged leader of Iran. In the 2000s, Ayatollah Khamenei faced a nuclear standoff with the West, insisting Iran's program was peaceful and a matter of national pride. Years of sanctions and tense negotiations followed, while Khamenei remained defiant. In 2009, mass protests erupted over a disputed election. Khamenei crushed dissent, consolidating power but deepening divisions within Iranian society. Ayatollah Khamenei has shaped Iran for over 35 years, defending the revolution's core principles and expanding its influence across the Middle East. He's overseen a vast network of regional allies, often through the IRGC's Quds Force. Domestically, dissent has been tightly controlled, with elections offering little real choice. Khamenei remains Iran's ultimate authority, his rule marked by resilience, repression, and enduring power. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's life mirrors Iran's modern history. From humble beginnings in Mashhad to supreme leader, he has shaped the nation through revolution, war, and unrest. Supporters see him as a steadfast guardian of independence and faith. Critics cite repression and lost opportunities. His legacy is fiercely debated, but his impact on Iran and the Middle East is undeniable, leaving a mark that will endure for generations. As of May 2024, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei remains Iran's supreme authority. At 84, questions about his succession grow urgent. The next leader, possibly his son Mojtaba or President Raisi, will shape Iran's future, facing economic hardship, social unrest, and tense foreign relations. The transition will test the resilience of Iran's institutions and determine the direction of the Islamic Republic after Khamenei.